The film begins with a man named Yip Oi and his two sons who want to meet their teacher, Professor Chun Wasun. At that time, Yip Oi and Professor Chan have been friends for a long time because the Wing Chun school was built on Yip Oi's land, not far from his house. When Professor Chan wanted to pay rent for the land, Yip Oi said no. Instead, he asked Professor Chan to teach his sons Wing Chun. Soon after, Yip Oi introduced his two sons, Yip Man and his adopted son, Yip Chi. Upon hearing that, Professor Chan agreed to teach them both. There, he gave them a book that told them to be wise and keep Wing Chun real. Afterward, Yip Oi said he had to go to Hong Kong for business and asked Chi to take care of his younger brother. Then, he left them both. Next, we see So making medicine for Professor Chan. So always reminds his teacher to take his medicine. One day, Professor Chan and So showed a fighting style while blindfolded. Then, they started to fight. At the end, Professor Chan threw a strong punch that sent So flying. After that, Professor Chan told his students that in Wing Chun, it's important to focus on what you feel, not what you see. One night, while sleeping, Yip Chi had a dream about his past. Chi is Yip Man's older adopted brother, whom Yip Oi found homeless in front of their house. Chi actually comes from Japan. During that time, Japan forced children to become soldiers and sent them to China as spies, and Chi was one of them. Back to the story, when Yip Man realized Chi was having a nightmare. He woke him up and suggested they look for food in the kitchen. However, they found nothing. Then one of their classmates, Mei Wai, caught them. Instead of reporting them, Mei Wai shared her food with them, and they became friends. The next morning, as usual, So gave some medicine to Teacher Chan. After that, Teacher Chan praised Yip Man as a talented student. There, he expressed his wish for So to take care of the school and the students after he's gone. Then, suddenly, Teacher Chan collapsed and passed away. Long story short, after the funeral, So took on the responsibility of preserving the true essence of Wing Chun with all his dedication. He became the new teacher at the school, succeeding Chun Wasun. 9 years later, in 1915, all the students, including Yip Man, Chi, and Mei Wai, had grown up. Despite his friends taking a break from training, Yip Man, who had always been gifted, continued practicing. One evening during a lantern festival, Yip Man and his friends Sui Sun and Yo Choi went to the festival. At that time, they split up in the crowd. Then, at the festival, Yip Man noticed a gramophone on display and approached it. Soon after, he caught the eye of a lovely woman named Chun Wing Sing and exchanged looks. Curious, Yip Man accidentally scratched the black disc. On the other hand, Wing Xing, realizing he couldn't fix it, bought it without revealing her name and left Yip Man behind. But turns out, Wing Xing purposely did all those things because she liked Yip Man. Soon after, during a performance at the festival, troublemakers showed up. There, Wing Xing bravely confronted them, but when one of the thugs was about to hit her, Yip Man stepped in and stopped him. He fought the thug boss and managed to knock him down with a powerful punch. While Yip Man fought, his friends were also in trouble. Seeing them overwhelmed, Yip Man rushed to help. When the thugs were about to use a knife, Wing Xing intervened and hit the thug, allowing Yip Man to disarm him. Then they all went their separate ways. Later in 1915, at a train station in Foshan, students from the Wing Chun school gathered. Yip Man was leaving with his father to study in Hong Kong. Before he left, So advised him to keep practicing and remember his Wing Chun lessons, as well as to stay true to its principles according to Teacher Chan's advice. Then, Yip Man and his father departed from Foshan. Now, Yip Man is a student at a school called Stephens College in Hong Kong. He's learning many things there, including English. One day, after playing hockey with his friends, another student got upset and challenged Yip Man to a fight. In that fight, Yip Man won, and his reputation as a skilled fighter spread. The next day, as Yip Man walked through the streets, people greeted him warmly, even though he didn't know them. At that time, he was looking for medicine for the student he defeated. On the other hand, the shop owner, aware of the fight, told Yip Man that his name and Wing Chun skills were now famous. The owner then asked Yip Man about Wing Chun, and Yip Man explained that he learned the original Wing Chun from a great teacher named Long Jund in Foshan. In the past, Long Jund taught Chun Wa-sun, Yip Man's first teacher, who had passed away. Surprisingly, the old man knew Chun Wa-sun and wanted to spar with Yip Man, but Yip Man refused, not wanting to hurt the man. Feeling insulted, the old man attacked Yip Man, and Yip Man fought back seriously. There, Yip Man noticed the old man's moves weren't true Wing Chun, as his teacher taught that Wing Chun was about 70% hands and 30% feet. Shortly after, the old man explained to Yip Man that although traditional Wing Chun focuses on hand movements, it doesn't mean Wing Chun can't evolve. He had added new moves to his Wing Chun, like a powerful high kick that knocks down opponents effectively. When Yip Man asked for the man's name, he introduced himself as Long Beak, also from Foshan. Yip Man was surprised because he knew Long Beak was the son of Long Jund, the Wing Chun Grandmaster. There, Long Beak offered to teach Yip Man Wing Chun. The next day, Yip Man began learning Wing Chun from Long Beak. Under Long Beak's guidance, Yip Man's skills improved greatly. Long Beak's Wing Chun had perfected movements, including long-range punches, high kicks, and elbow strikes. These additions made Wing Chun more effective at various distances. Long Beak believed there was no distinction between traditional and perfected Wing Chun. Meanwhile, in Foshan, Tin Chi works at a martial arts association called Jinwu. The association is led by Li Mund-ho, who is also the adoptive father of Mei Wai. At that time, Tin Chi serves as his deputy. One evening, the association held a meeting to discuss a donation from a Japanese businessman named Kitano. Chairman Lai and Chung So decided not to accept the donation because they knew Japan was trying to control Chinese territory. One of their tactics was to infiltrate large organizations in China. Turns out Kitano was involved in smuggling Japanese children to China to become spies. As these children grew up, Kitano would manipulate them to join influential organizations in China, aiming to gain control. Tin Chi was one of these children under Kitano's influence, following his orders. Meanwhile, in 1919, after finishing his studies in Hong Kong, Yip Man finally returned to college. His friends warmly welcomed him back. Soon after, Tin Chi approached him, and they began to spar. During the fight, Yip Man attempted a high kick, but Tin Chi pointed out that Wing Chun typically doesn't use such high kicks. They continued to spar, and eventually, Yip Man managed to control Tin Chi's movements by grabbing his neck. After the fight, their friends asked Yip Man to teach them. However, Chung So, who had been observing, looked upset. He was displeased because he felt Yip Man wasn't staying true to the authentic Wing Chun style. Later that evening, while eating together, Chung So asked Yip Man whose Wing Chun was more authentic, whether it was Master Chan's or Long Beak's. There, Yip Man explained that Long Beak's Wing Chun had perfected movements, making it more effective against opponents. After hearing Yip Man's response, Chung So became angry. He argued that Long Beak hadn't fully mastered all the Wing Chun techniques taught by Long Jund. Chung So believed Long Beak's perfected Wing Chun was just his own version. Upon hearing that, Yip Man disagreed, thinking it was unlikely for Long Beak to perfect it without mastering all of Wing Chun. This disagreement led to Chung So challenging Yip Man, and despite reluctance, Yip Man fought his own teacher. In truth, if Yip Man had fought seriously, he would have lost to Chung So. However, out of respect for his teacher, Yip Man chose to yield and let Chung So throw him. While bowing before his teacher's altar, Yip Man remembered Long Beak's teachings. Long Beak emphasized that Chun Wa-sun was Yip Man's true teacher, and he should respect him. Long Beak also explained that he left Foshan because his family couldn't accept his perfected Wing Chun techniques. A few days later, Yip Man and Wing Xing, who hadn't seen each other for a while, reunited at the cinema. After the movie, they spent time together, strengthening their bond. Meanwhile, in 1920, Tin Chi and Mei Wai got married. On the morning of the wedding day, Yumi, Kitano's daughter, approached Tin Chi. She handed him a package with orders to kill Li Mund-ho. At that time, Kitano's plan was to take control of the Jinwoo Association. In the evening, the wedding celebration began with everyone, including Lee Mun-ho, attending. Later, when Lee Mun-ho got very drunk, Yip Man helped him home. But as Yip Man was about to leave, drunk Lee challenged him to a fight. After making sure Lee fell asleep, Yip Man left. The next day, Lee Mun-ho was found dead. Chung-so and Yip Man went to see him and noticed marks on Lee Mun-ho's neck. They questioned Tin-chi, but he denied any involvement. Shortly after, the police chief from Foshan arrived to arrest Yip Man. He believed Yip Man was the killer based on a report from Lee's servant who saw them fighting that night. However, the true mastermind behind everything was Kitano. After Lee Mun-ho's death, Tin-chi became the chairman of the association. This indirectly allowed Kitano to control the association, as Tin-chi had been working for Kitano. Several months later, Yip Man was released from prison with the help of Wing Chun, who admitted that Yip Man had been with her on the night of the incident. Yip Man, who had always loved Wing Chun, promised to marry her. Meanwhile, Mei opened a parcel she received from the Japanese. Inside, she found a letter instructing Tin-chi to kill Lee Mun-ho. She realized her husband had killed her adoptive father. At night, despite being pregnant, Mei decided to end her life, but Tin-chi intervened and saved her. Disappointed, Mei wanted to leave Tin-chi, but he persuaded her to stay, reminding her that she would soon be a mother. At that time, Tin-chi decided to take Mei away from there, but before they could leave, Tin-chi wanted to take the parcel with him. Unfortunately, it had been opened, and the warrant was missing. Mei revealed that Chung-so had taken it. There, Tin-chi realized Chung-so knew everything by now. As they were about to leave, Kitano and his men confronted them. Shortly after, Kitano ordered Tin-chi to kill his own teacher, Chung-so, because Chung-so now knew Tin-chi had been working for Kitano. When Kitano threatened Mei, Tin-chi reluctantly agreed to the order. There, Kitano promised Tin-chi freedom after completing the mission. Meanwhile, Chung-so and two of his students went to the school to find Tin-chi. They split up to search for him. When the students found Tin-chi's friends held captive, Tin-chi, disguised with a face covering, attacked them. At the same time, Chung-so, apologizing at his teacher's altar, was attacked by Yumi and her samurai army. Tin-chi arrived and helped them fight back. After the attack, Chung-so managed to save his teacher's nameplate and reveal Tin-chi's face. Using the altar table, Chung-so tried to escape the attackers. Yip Man arrived and joined the fight, helping Chung-so. When the stick broke, Yip Man used the remaining part as a double stick and continued fighting. During the fight, Yumi was accidentally killed. Then, Yip Man and Tin-chi began hand-to-hand combat. At that time, Tin-chi used karate and judo techniques instead of Wing Chun. Eventually, Yip Man managed to immobilize Tin-chi and break his leg. Then, Chung-so asked Tin-chi why he betrayed them. Tin-chi revealed he was actually a Japanese soldier named Tanaka Akatsu and had to fulfill his missions as a soldier. Soon after, Chung-so asked about Mei-wai's whereabouts, and Tin-chi said she was held hostage by Kitano at a dock in Foshan. After knowing that, Yip Man immediately went there. Left alone, Tin-chi committed harakiri. Meanwhile, at the dock, while searching for Kitano, Yip Man suddenly had flour thrown in his eyes, blurring his vision. At first, he struggled to face Kitano, but then he remembered his teacher's advice and managed to defeat him. Soon after, he rescued Mei. 14 years later, in 1935, after his father's passing, Yip Man lived in a grand house he inherited. He lived there with his wife, Wing Chun, and their son, Yip Chun. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is if someone throws flour in your eyes, just pretend it's a baking mishap and keep fighting.